My name is Petrina, and I'm the Vice President, Global Head of AI Platforms. And today I would like to talk to you about benchmarks. So you may have heard that in Silica Medicine recently launched benchmarks as a service. And as part of this process of building that, we had to go through the process of benchmarking model, where we found it an extremely challenging exercise, not only to identify benchmarks that are relevant to drug discovery and development tasks, but then also know which ones are best used to assess the performance of a model. And this is very important because if you cannot accurately assess the performance of a model, then you are going to integrate a model that is poorly performing into your drug discovery and development workflows, which can be detrimental to say the least. So what we have done and what we're launching today is a culmination of all of the research that we've done into benchmarks in this space. And we've created this website that can be found at O3DC.org, where we have collected all of the existing drug discovery benchmarks and indexed them and placed them into 10 different categories so that anyone who's interested in benchmarking models for drug discovery and development can easily find all of the existing benchmarks that are, for example, platforms or those that have been published that you can use for molecular property prediction or ADMET prediction. And for each of benchmark that falls within a category, you have a benchmark where you'll find the name of the benchmark, the team responsible for the benchmark, a brief description of the benchmark, the known caveat, which is very important, helps you not waste your time on a specific benchmark if the caveats do not agree with the task you're trying to evaluate. And then for each benchmark that has a GitHub repository, a link to the GitHub repository or a link to the website. And if you join the consortium, which is as easy as just clicking on the Join the Consortium button, filling in the relevant information, clicking send, you'll get a link in your inbox that allows you to then join the consortium. You can discuss benchmarks in drug discovery and development, either in the general discussion page or in each of the existing benchmarks. If you want to discuss, for example, a particular benchmark, then you just click on the discuss button and you can share your thoughts, any arguments you may have about the performance of what's on this website, or what you think is so wonderful about the benchmark itself if you highly recommend it. Now, our benchmarks have not been spared. So we are in the benchmark index like everybody else's benchmarks. And feel free to discuss our benchmarks as well. We're subject to the same scrutiny. So in addition to building this community around benchmarks and collecting all the benchmarks, and by the way, every time the page is refreshed, the index is also updated. So any new benchmarks that are published will be added to the benchmark index and properly categorized. But we also wanted to provide means for people to be able to submit their own benchmarks as well. So you just click on the Submit a Benchmark button and put in your benchmark name, select the category. If it belongs to a consortium, add that information, put in the maintainer or lead author's name, the GitHub repository if it's open, link to the paper where you've published the benchmark or your website, a description of what it measures, the tasks that it performs, any known caveats, so you have the ability to control that narrative, your name, your GitHub or org ID, your GitHub repo or org ID, your relationship to the benchmark, and then submit it, and it will be indexed and included in the index. So as of today, there are 123 benchmarks that are indexed, but you should know that when I first created this website, which was less than 2 weeks ago, there were 51 benchmarks indexed. So this space is moving at an exponential speed, and we truly believe that this website will help at least put us all on the same page, use the same benchmarks to assess the performance of models, and open up that discussion around which benchmarks are best to use and which ones are not. So join us, join the consortium, go to o3dc.org, and let's